Welcome to Dugout Chatter. We are going to see how America's pastime has shaped generations of young men and women into the determined people they are today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dugout Chatter. This is episode number 2, and today I have my first guest in studio. Now, this guy spent most of his childhood in Palm Beach Gardens, played at Palm Beach Gardens. He spent his senior year at Treasure Coast High School in Port St. Lucie County. He has over 12 years combined experience between playing and coaching, played all the way through the collegiate level. He is my current men's league buddy, Chris. If you're the IRS, good luck tracking him because he's on his 4th legal last name, Capeletti. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. I haven't been able to make it out to Sunday League. When was the last time you went out?
Oh, gosh. I think it was probably about almost a month ago, maybe.
Yeah, me too. But I'll be at the Saturday night game, so that'll be good to catch up there. So, Chris, obviously you have a lot of time spent on the diamond. So how old were you when you were introduced to baseball, would you say?
I was about 3 years old. Yeah, my mom was just driving around Pembroke Pines where we used to live. She saw a little sign on the side of the road, baseball, t-ball sign-ups or whatever, and she said, well, that'd be pretty cool for him to do.
Yeah, anyone in your family play?
No, not really.
Oh, so you were a trailblazer for that.
Yeah, my my stepdad, he actually was big into baseball. So growing up, it was kind of always that way. Like the dream was to make it big.
Yeah,
basically.
so you had that dream and aspiration to make it the big leagues at a very young age?
Yeah, always. That was just kind of the life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and tennis. I remember you telling me tennis got mixed in. When did that come into play?
I started taking that serious when I was like 16 years old. My sister was the tennis player, and just driving her around for tennis lessons, and I said, "Hey, it looks cool," so jumped right into it. Really
nice. And one big thing now is like you see kids nowadays when they play sports, they just play one sport. When you grew up, did you play any other sports besides tennis and baseball?
It was just mostly baseball up until age 16.
So when you played tennis, did you find any skills cross-pollinate over into baseball?
Serving.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you've been trained how to throw a ball, you're going to have a pretty good serve.
Okay. So those sports helped you out with one another?
Oh, yeah. And then tennis got me lighter on my feet, and so I was able to play different positions. I grew up behind the dish and on the mound, and then all of a sudden I'm being asked to play third base, outfield, shortstop.
And the footwork's there, the arm angles and everything. I think that's
mostly footwork, yeah.
That's a big thing in baseball too, is practicing at different positions because that works your footwork in different ways, arm angles you throw from. It just teaches your body different athletic motions. And the more you can do that, the better. Because like I remember I was listening to a podcast with Sean Casey. He was the first baseman. He was taking ground balls at short with Barry Larkin to make him a better first baseman.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think also if you're an infielder, you should also take
outfield.
Reps in the outfield and vice versa.
No, because like I me, like I'm a catcher, middle infielder, and one of my biggest weak spots is infield pop-ups. I'm a shit outfielder, so I wish I would have spent more time as a kid playing the outfield because it probably would help me with reading a fly ball off the bat. And like in the infield, when you get them, you get the backspin, it goes up real high. They can be a pain to track. So what's your favorite position though?
Oh, definitely catching.
Ah, yeah.
There's nothing like it. I mean,
you're going to have to battle me for that one.
You got the whole... yeah. Well, when I'm pitching, you catch, and then...
Vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just like the view. You have the view, the whole field in front of you. You call in a lot of the shots.
You're the pitcher's emotional support animal.
Oh, yeah. and they're punching bags sometimes, too.
Yeah. No, dude, sometimes when you go to do a mound visit, and they give you the good talking, too.
Yeah, well, it helps to know your pitchers, too. Like, some guys like you to tell them a joke.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys like pat on the back and like, hey, man, you got this,
And some of them, like, specifically, like, one of the guys on our team, Jacob, I played with him since I was 14, so I know how he likes his game called. That's a big thing. So tell me a little bit about your playing days. Like, how early do you want to take it? Like, travel ball, high school? Like, give me a little breakdown, like, how you were playing, what things were looking like, what you were looking for at the time, trying to move to the next level.
Yeah, so I guess when we moved up to Palm Beach Gardens, started playing All-Stars and travel, and then moved on to, playing high school ball and stuff like that. And
How was high school ball for you?
it was pretty good. Yeah, Palm Beach Gardens, I would say, is probably the most professional program I've played for, still to this day.
Really, even through college and everything?
Yeah, definitely.
What'd they do different?
It was just the whole structure of it. Everything was really well run. It was Coach Joe Russo there at the time, and he had played at UF. I believe he was a second baseman.
Nice.
And yeah, it was just really high level baseball for high school here. I don't think they've done as well in recent years, but yeah, it was a good experience, really good.
So when you were saying like he ran it professionally, like was it more in-depth practices? Did he help you guys with like conditioning, weightlifting, and all that, and drills?
Yeah, all of that. Like just taking IO was a big complicated thing. Two separate sets of signs for, first 1 through 3 innings and then 4 through 7. Completely different set of signs, all that kind of stuff. Conditioning.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah,
not a lot of high schools do that.
It was complex.
No, that's good because that gets you mentally sharp, and that's a big thing about baseball is like being mentally sharp because you know how the lows can be.
They can be pretty low. That's for sure.
Because you can be hitting right for a week and then hold back your baseball card life. Like you're like I had 400 this year, and then you go like 0 for 6. And you're like, why the fuck can't I hit anymore? Why can't I hit anymore? What's wrong with me?
Yeah, that's the thing. You start to think too much.
So what pulled you out of those slumps?
Just not making too many major adjustments, especially if you're hitting the ball pretty well and just getting unlucky. Now, if you're striking out, if you're popping up too much or grounding out too much, then you got to take a look at something. Take a look at your mechanics
yeah.
But yeah, just I would say just don't overthink it.
Yeah, and how was your senior year moving to a different school?
That was pretty tough, actually. It was kind of tough time in my life. Mom and stepdad were divorcing, and then we moved up there, and it was kind of like, well, I don't know anybody here. They didn't know me, so I kind of proved myself all over again. So growing up as a catcher, didn't really play that much outfield. One of the coach's sons was a catcher, so I'm not going to get behind the dish.
Oh,
of course
boy.
Not. Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Politics, of course, but
yeah.
But being in left field that whole season, I was throwing harder than I ever had in my life by the end of it. Just gunning it every day from the outfield and
using your legs more.
Yeah, a little bit. Just it's just that pushing the limit every day, throwing the ball hard on a line every day. It just built it up pretty strong.
So when your parents were getting divorced, do you feel like anything you learned from baseball helped you cope with that?
Kind of, sort of. I think actually playing tennis eventually helped that more, kind of being more self-reliant. Whereas baseball, you
still rely on people.
Yeah, you have to work with your teammates to accomplish things. Whereas tennis, it's like you're out there alone. You got to figure it out by yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's a major difference. And I feel like everybody should play a team sport and an individual sport for that reason.
That's a good point. Learn how to deal with stuff with others and by yourself. So I remember you telling me you got on a wicked hot streak your senior year.
Yeah.
Dude,
sure.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It was kind of surreal. I didn't even realize how good it was until our catcher, his name was Nick, came up to me one practice. We were like 7 or 8 games in, 9 games in, something like that. And he goes, "Hey Chris, man, do you know that you're hitting freaking 780 something?" I said, "No way."
So would you get out like twice all season up to that point?
I mean, it was insane. I think I finished the year up like 410 or something like that.
That's still ridiculous.
Yeah, because I partially dislocated my left shoulder, sliding head first into second, stealing a base, and missed a game, and didn't really do too well after that.
So shoulder didn't heal?
It's still pretty loose.
Oh, God. So did that season, your senior year, get you any looks for college?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of top schools came to look at me. Vanderbilt, a few other ones.
Vanderbilt. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Dude, that's no small thing. They're one of the top college baseball programs in the country, like, every year. Yeah,
they came to watch me play. We were playing LPA at Lawnwood, and I did go 2 for 4 with, like, 2 doubles and made some really good plays at at third, but they're like, yeah, well, how's his grades? How's his attendance?
Yeah.
Well, I was not going to school very much, so yeah, even pro teams look at that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you would definitely tell kids, make sure you're going to school.
Oh yeah, go to class.
Yeah, go to class.
Go to class.
Yeah, Rich, go to class.
Let's see, the student athlete, what's the first word there?
Student.
Got to go to class.
No, I remember when I was in high school playing ball, we had one award called the Student Athlete Award, and as if, you had a 3.0 or above the whole season, you got the Student Athlete Award. How much did that affect your chances, though?
Big time. Yeah, it was, I don't know. I had pretty good grades going into senior year, but then got lazy. I said, well, it was kind of a game, actually, like, which class can I skip today?
Did you get any senior privilege classes?
Nah, not really. But, yeah, that kind of screwed me up. Definitely screwed me up a lot for getting there. So I did go JUCO, played JUCO in Maryland, and then sophomore year, dislocated my shoulder, my thrown shoulder.
Oh.
So that was it.
So that was it after your sophomore year of college?
Yep, that was it for the career.
Wow, that kind of came to an abrupt end.
Very. Yeah.
So one thing that's always big, too, like when I stopped playing, I didn't play college. I was done after high school. But the identity crisis, the depression you go through, it's real after you hang him up.
It sure is, yeah, especially when
So how'd it hit you?
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Definitely hit me pretty hard. Took years to get over.
No, I remember I was the same way. Like, I couldn't watch baseball. Like, I kind of, in a weird way, despised it. I felt like the game cheated me. It was very secluding. Like, I was kind of by myself because all my friends already moved away to college. Were you kind of in the same boat?
Pretty much. Yeah, it was, like you said, it's kind of depressing, and especially when it comes to an abrupt end. Suddenly, when things are
injuries.
going well.
Injuries a different thing from not making it to the next level.
Yeah.
Because did you spend time wondering what could have been?
Oh yeah, sometimes I still do. And then
Really?
yeah, it was a long recovery. So I had to have surgery on the shoulder.
On your thrown shoulder?
Yeah, because it dislocated, and when it dislocated, it broke off not only the labrum but a piece of the shoulder socket.
Oh my!
So they call that a Bankart lesion. And so 4 weeks in a sling, and then had frozen shoulder coming out of it. Now that was the problem, is it spent about 8 months getting to be able to raise my hand directly over my head, straight up.
It's a lot of PT.
Oh yeah, twice a week PT. But what really did it was the massage therapy.
Oh really?
Yeah, trigger point therapy.
Yeah.
There's this lady named Belen. She's from Spain. So they talk with their hands.
Yeah.
So
all Spanish and Italians do.
She's
I know because I'm both Cuban Italian.
nice, good combo.
Yeah.
So she'd be massaging my shoulder or whatever, and then she'd telling me a story growing up in Spain, and then she'd start talking with her hands. I'm like, "Hey, Belen,
like please, the shoulder.
I don't have that much money."
Yeah, I know. Like, come on, we're running over the hour limit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like we're talking about the identity crisis. Like, what'd you search for in life after that? Like you're like, I'm getting thrown into the real world. I got to find a job. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time just kind of working tennis coaching jobs, to be honest with you, which was good. And then just kind of wandering around, kind of wondering what to do. And then kind of got lucky with working for a fishing tackle company. So my brother-in-law was working there, and he said, "Hey, they're hiring the warehouse." I said, "All right, cool." It was going to be my third job. And 2 months later, he goes, "Hey, they're hiring for sales guys in the office. You don't want to work in the warehouse your whole life, do you?" I said, "No, not really." So I applied, and then was there for 7.5 years, and just started with another company. So things are doing all right.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
So were you still going through that resentment towards baseball?
Yeah. Let's see here. Like you said, it probably took 3 or 4 years till I could watch baseball again.
Yeah. Like, I remember one thing that hit me pretty directly, and especially at the age I'm at now, I'm 25. It's weird when you watch big league games and there's guys your age. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It really is. And, like, now there's guys younger than me. It's just like, oh, my God.
Dude, I feel you. When I watch baseball now, it's like, wait a minute, that guy looks like he's 14 years old. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, oh, man. And guys are extending their careers now into their late 30s too, especially pitchers. Like you just look at
like Scherzer,
Verlander.
Kershaw's at 36, back at the top of his game. Verlander, that was crazy too. At 39 or 38, 39, has Tommy John, comes back, wins a Cy Young.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
But yeah, that's all the advancements that baseball has made as far as like, different training regimens. I feel like baseball has really taken its training aspect more seriously now. Like back in the day, it was kind of like you're a baseball player, you lift some weights, but you do baseball. But now it's like a bunch of different advanced training.
Just you can lift a bunch of bales of hay back then and be, one of the top players in the league, I guess. But yeah, training, nutrition,
all that's a lot more in depth now than it was 20 years ago, man.
Totally.
Like even now, like with the different facilities that pop up with, like, they have the TrackMan Rapsodo and all that, like all these measurements in the cage and off the mound.
We didn't have that growing up. At
No,
least I didn't.
I didn't either.
That would have been nice, right?
I was after you. I didn't either. So what brought you back to baseball? Because I found my way just getting back to it kind of organically because I started watching again a few years after, like I got over it, and then Jacob one day just hit me up about the men's league team that we now play on, and he was just like, "Do you want to play? They're looking for pitchers," and he's like, "It's free," and I was like, "Well, who's going to turn down free baseball?" So what brought you back to playing?
Kind of the same thing. So I was married for a year and a half.
Yeah,
and during that time, I had one of my high school buddies from Treasure Coast. He would call me, message me every time, so often, and hey, we need guys to play. They were the Piranhas in our men's league.
Okay, in Palm Beach baseball.
Yeah. Back in the day, I don't think they're in the league anymore, but
yeah, a lot of teams shifting in and out.
Right. So he was inviting me, but I didn't go, just because of relationship stuff, we'll say. Yeah. And eventually, I went back. I called Busky, Robbie Busky, who plays with us. He's our shortstop.
God, I love Busky. Like, Busky's one of those guys that, like, if you don't like him, you're the problem.
Exactly.
Like, that dude's literally, like, the life of the party, the most chill dude you'll ever meet. And he's almost 40, and he's probably the most athletic guy on our team.
Yeah, still.
Like,
for sure.
I don't get it, how he does it sometimes. And he's told me he learned how to switch it in men's league.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I used to, he's probably thrown me about 10,000 batting practice pitches. There used to be this place called Chuck's Batter's Box up in Port St. Lucie. And so Coach, a little bit more about Coach Chuck in a little bit, but Busky worked there, and I would go there while I was rehabbing my shoulder. And he's got some of the best batting practice BP I've ever seen.
Yeah, Busky, I can definitely see that.
He throws the best PP.
Yeah, and dude can play shortstop, catch, pitch, play center if he wants to.
Yeah.
Like World's his oyster on the field. I would have loved to see him in his prime.
Probably not much different. Maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah. Like, I remember
not as
one.
big. Solid.
Actually, I remember one game. Like, it was one of the craziest things. I think he was in a 2-strike count, and he swung with just his hands and burns the left fielder, and it was like a curveball coming in. I'm like, bro, I can't do that with my hips.
He's definitely got some guns, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, when did you start coaching? How much coaching did you do back in the day?
Well, I actually started coaching tennis,
like
age 18 or 19, something like that. Just started out with the little kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Because as far as tennis goes, when I started that, I got into tournaments really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I started taking it serious, and then I don't know, 3 weeks later, or maybe a month later, I was playing my first tournament, and then just played, high level, what they call men's opens tournaments. And that was about it until 22 years old, something like that.
All right.
24. But started coaching that. Coached some baseball recently. I've had a couple of kids up in Port St. Lucie that I was working with.
Dude, it's a lot of fun coaching.
Yeah, I could sit on a bucket and teach hitting all day long.
Dude, I know. Like, one of my favorite things was I just coached this last high school spring season, hitting IO. Oh, it's the best, hitting IO.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Get to work that fungo out.
Dude, it is. Like, I love hitting them way too hard at the kids. Like, test those reflexes.
Yeah.
So looking back at it all now, what did baseball teach you going into your professional life and work and how to deal with people?
Well, I mean, honestly, the first thing to teach you how to work with a team and be a team player. That's a big thing in the
and in
business
baseball,
world.
like, dude, you get every melting pot of personalities and cultures too.
Yeah, for sure. And coaches want team players.
Yeah.
I would rather put a team together with a bunch of guys that are ride or die.
Yeah.
Got your back.
Guys that are going to grind.
Exactly. Versus,
no egos allowed.
Exactly. If you got one or two superstars on the team who have giant egos,
it brings everyone down. It's crazy.
They can be the cancer cell of the team.
Exactly.
So that's another thing I would suggest is like, if this ever gets to any kids out there, just be a team player. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between confidence and cocky.
Exactly.
Ride that line, but don't go into cocky.
Because at the end of the day, nobody cares. And especially when you're in high school, nobody cares.
Yeah. And after it's done, no one cares.
Exactly.
Unless you were like a big league.
Unless you were like
like
a Derek Jeter celebrity caliber type player. Like, no one cares. Like, the game will move on from you.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing that, like we were talking about earlier about how after baseball's done, like I was bitter towards it also. Like, it was taken away from me.
Dude, same way. Same way.
Then you got to realize, like, the game gave us so much.
Yeah. It like, the friendships you find,
so
the life lessons you learn. And, like, dude, like, especially in my circumstance, I'm the youngest of 4 brothers. There's a lot of times, especially down here in South Florida, I run into someone who's played with them. So you always know somebody. And, dude, those are valuable relationships to have in work and life. It's also networking.
Hell yeah. I have teammates from freaking 12U travel that I still talk to. My college roommates, which were also on the team, got a bunch of funny stories about those guys.
Yeah.
But, I could call them up. They all live in Puerto Rico. They're all, oh, God.
Dude, all right, give me one funny story of guys you played with.
Let's see. Funny story.
Like, I've heard some from my older brothers. There's some wild crap that happens in a clubhouse, man.
Totally.
It gets weird.
Oh my God. So a lot of funny stuff happened in college. In our house, there was five guys from Puerto Rico and me. So we had this guy, William. He was a big power hitter, played third base, pitched. He was a catcher too. So one day he's downstairs and he's in the bathroom for like ever. So him and I shared the basement together. We had a bathroom. He comes up the stairs, buck naked, with shaving cream all over his dick, swinging it around. And he's like, "Hey, Chris. Oh my God, bro. What the fuck?
Bro, Spanish baseball players, there's something different about their personalities.
Oh my God.
No,
crazy. So much stuff. But
Chris.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then so like he used to dip too. I used to dip a lot.
Oh, me too.
And
guilty of it.
So every time I'd pull out my can, he'd go, "Hey Chris, do you have so much dip?"
And then, bro, when they go into the can, they don't take out like a little pinch. They take out like about a third of the can.
Yeah, it's a doorknob.
Oh, I know. And then you're like, man, like your gums must be on fire right now.
Yeah, I can never do that much at a time. I tried to put like a quarter can of peach in my mouth one time while I was fishing. It came out about 5 minutes later.
Yeah. So, I want to talk a little bit about the modern game too, because like we were talking about earlier, the culture, if you want to call it that, around baseball has shifted a lot. What do you see that's like, what do you think of like about everything now being about power hitting? Because I think there's kind of an issue with it, about all this launch angle, hitting for power and everything. And I think the perfect example now that we're seeing in the big leagues is Luis Ariz. Like, he's flirting with 400. It could be the first time since 1941. And what I see with a guy like that who gets hits constantly is that wears out a starting pitcher, bullpen, arm, or whatever. It irritates you when you make good pitches and can't get somebody out. But if a guy's hitting 200 and runs into one, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think there should be more bat to ball guys, more Tony Gwynn-esque type players, more Luis Ariz, like shoot the ball the other way, get on base for those big guys? Because I think we need more of that in baseball now.
I kind of agree. I think you need both.
You need both. It's about balancing a lineup at the end of the day.
It is about getting on base. And gosh, I think who was the last one to hit over? Was it Chipper Jones was pretty high average. I mean,
back in like
favorite.
Around late 2000s, early 2010s. I think he hit like 360 one year. He spent some time on the DL, but either way, you hit 360, you earned your batting title.
Yeah, he went on a tear a few years in a row. I think he had a super long extra base hit streak, super long hit streak. But I do agree. Yes, we need to get some more on base guys, high average guys.
But you know where that starts? The front office, because they're paying the guys to walk, strike out, and hit 20 homers a year. I mean, don't get me wrong, 20 homers is good, but if that's your peak, dude, when you get old, your body slows down, your body breaks down. Like, look at Joey Gallo. How long is he going to stay in the league?
I don't know. Maybe not too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting $190, and that's where I think OPS plus is a failing stat, because it only takes it tries to be this perfect stat about the era of the ballpark and everything you play in, but it counts more towards your slugging and not your average. So I remember one game I was watching Joey Gallo in about $190. It was like pre-All-Star break. He might have had 14 home runs. Xander Bogaerts is hitting over 300 with like 8 home runs, and they both had the same OPS plus. I was like, no. They're not the same hitter. A guy who hits 300 and a guy who hits 190 with power, two different hitters entirely.
I wouldn't take a 190 average guy no matter what he could do.
Yeah, and
otherwise,
and the way I look
garbage. To me, that's garbage.
Dude, the way I look at it too is if you're that guy who's hitting 190 as a pitcher, I have so many ways to exploit your weaknesses. There are so many weak spots in your zone because you can't cover the whole plate. You can control the strike zone, but you can't cover the whole plate.
Yeah, and I would say for him as a hitter, if you're hitting 190, you got to change something. That's not good.
Yeah, but that's his OPS plus is above league average. That's where I think it needs to start from. We need to adjust who we're paying. Like, dude, Cody Bellinger was absolute dog shit the last couple of years, and he makes an $11.5 million contract. I mean, yeah, he turned it around this year, but like, he got paid for $11.5 million for being one of the worst hitters in the league. Like, he was in $160 with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Do you think he smokes weed?
Yeah, I think more guys in baseball do than we realize.
I don't know if he's ever admitted to it, but
no, they wouldn't in public.
Of course not.
That hurts your public image. They're not going to do that.
He looks like,
dude. I remember
blazing high all the time.
I remember one guy I played with in high school. His name was Braxton, and he told me about one of his buddies. He got drafted. He's in the low-level minor leagues with the Giants, and I'll censor this one part, but he was, shaking hands with the president. We'll put it like that, and smoking weed before games.
Huh.
That's what they were doing in the minor leagues.
Wow.
They're probably doing a lot more than that in the big leagues. Like, you hear so many stories of them out partying until like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh, God. Who was it? It was a New York Yankees pitcher that I just...
David Wells?
David Wells.
Yeah.
There you go.
His perfect game story. Great.
Yes.
Absolutely hammered the night before.
Still drunk.
He was outraging till 5 in the morning and throws a perfect game the next day. 1 o'clock start the next day.
Oh, that's awful. Hey, actually, my best pitching performance ever, I was pretty hungover.
Oh, me too.
Thank God it was a night game, so I was playing.
Me too. It was during spring break.
Was it?
Yeah, I threw 4 shutout innings, and I took us to extras.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, yeah, mine was a summer league, college summer league up in Maryland. It was the Cal Ripken League, actually.
Oh, nice.
So it's like kind of second to the Cape Cod League.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the field for the first like 13 games. Because I was only one of 2 JUCO players on the team. There's a bunch of D1, D2, and some D3 guys. So they took me on as a PO for some reason. I was a really late ad. End of the season, invited me on. But the deal was I would get to catch bullpens, take BP, do all that stuff. I ended up catching a couple games.
Nice.
So we had this tall coach. His name was Coach Price. Played for the Rockville Express. And just warming up in the outfield, and here comes Coach Price. He's like 6'5", probably 70-year-old dude. He comes out. He goes, "Hey, Chris, how you feeling today?" "Huh? Pretty good, Coach." He goes, "Well, you're starting today. How about that shit?" I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, whatever you need.
So we were playing the, oh gosh, I forget their name. I think they weren't the Herndon Braves. I'll remember it later, probably in the shower. But
shower thoughts.
Yeah, I went all 9 innings, no walks, one earned run, 4 strikeouts, I think. And we won like 6-2.
Oh, beautiful.
Like probably 110, 115 pitches. I couldn't throw for a week after that.
Oh yeah, dude. In men's league,
That was sore as
men's
hell.
league now, sort of 3 innings, and then my shoulder will be barking the whole next week.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite on the field moment? It can be an individual or team moment from your playing career.
That's a good one.
What was your cloud 9 moment as a baseball player, essentially?
Probably the farthest home run I ever hit in my life. Yeah.
How old were you?
18? 18 or 9? Yeah, I was 18. And we were playing in Vero Beach.
Dodger Town?
No, we were playing at this park. It was like right next to the river, the Indian River Lagoon. So if you take, I think it's the 13th Street or 17th Street Bridge over to the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's right on the water. It's beautiful. It was like right when we first started to use wood bats. And
Oh yeah, and back in the day, you used Beezers.
yes.
Yeah, the ones that flew off the bat.
Yes. So switching from that
To wood, like that's when you feel the difference. And the
Huge
sweet
switch.
spot goes from like here to like here.
Yeah, the Beezer bats, they had a big sweet spot. Wood bat, you got about the width of a baseball.
Yeah, like you legit have to hit barrel.
Got to hit it on the
Because
button.
back in those days, especially, Beezer exposed a bad hitter when they switched to wood.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this freaking home run I hit, I think the fences were like 225 or 230 all the way around.
No way.
And 330.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more
Yeah.
sense. I was like, were you playing on like a fucking 12-year-old field?
Yeah. No, I hit it over the lights.
Really?
Yeah, it was massive.
Felt like nothing off the bat.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I was swinging through air. That's the
That-
best feeling in the world.
No, it is. Like some of the hardest hits I've had in my life, I thought I missed the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you look up, you're like, oh, there it is. It just feels like nothing.
It's kind of, and I'm sure other guys can relate, but it's kind of this surreal moment, like right before you make contact, you know for a fact that's good.
Yeah.
That's going
So-
somewhere.
When you have a good swing, because this happened to me like a couple seasons ago in our first game, I hit a double that burned the left fielder. And it was like I could see my swing happening. It was like one of the closer things to an out-of-body experience, if you want to call it that. But like you can just feel your body in sync, knob to the ball, leaves the bat. And then when you just see it shoot up into the air and it's still going, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Great feeling. And that's
Yeah.
the thing, you just said it, you could see your swing.
Yeah.
It's that visualization. And too many, what I say when I'm coaching people, whether it's hitting a baseball, hitting a tennis ball, is, okay, I'm giving you all these words, right? Now you need to take all these words and condense it down into
To the bullet points that work for you.
two or three
Yes.
words maximum. That's it. And if you
Yeah.
can get from there to what you just said, seeing it, then that's where it's at.
You ever read a book called Mind Gym?
No.
So it's a book all about the like mental aspects of sports and mentally training. And it's a super easy read. I'd recommend it for any athlete out there, Mind
Okay.
Gym. And I remember one part of the book, this guy dealt a lot with athletes. And let's say you're a golfer and your approach is don't hit the water or like hit it on the green. Those are two different things completely.
Absolutely.
Because if you tell yourself, don't hit it in the water, the last thing that your mind just processed was water. So you're more likely to hit it into the water. But if you give yourself the target of the green where you want to hit it, you're more likely to hit that target. And also they did a test with basketball players doing free throws. So if you're shooting a free throw for an hour versus a guy who's mentally training on it for an hour versus a guy who's doing 30 minutes of both, the guy who's doing 30 minutes of both is in a better state. Because you have to have your mind sharpened as well as your body. Because that's a big thing about physical performance.
I've heard of this experiment because I was a psychology student in college, and so what they did was they took two groups, right, for I think it was 3 months, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but they took the first group practiced every day. Yeah, I got a bad case of CRS. Can't remember shit. So yeah, they took one group that practiced free throws every day, and one group that didn't, but they watched NBA players practicing, and that group did better at the end because the other group didn't watch any pros practicing.
Yeah, my nephew's getting big into playing baseball now, and that's one thing I tell him is like, watch. Seriously, watch. Look at what they do right. Ingest the game. When you see a guy do something, like, dude, take that into your game. Because I remember when I was a kid, and I was probably about, I want to say 12 years old-ish, so around 2010, remember Robinson Cano was really coming into his own, and, like, I copied his stance as a kid for a while.
Did you really?
Yeah, as a righty. And dude, I hit a couple balls off the fence. I mean, granted, they were 220-foot fields, but for my age, that worked. So it's really about like taking that in and see what works for you.
What was your first like big hit that you remember?
First big hit that I remember.
Yeah.
Dude, that's kind of tough.
Like home run, it could be anything, walk-off hit, whatever.
Do you want my favorite one?
Sure.
All right, so my favorite one, and I told this on the solo episode that I released last week. So it was my...
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's my senior year of high school, and I played for San Lucius Community High School, and our rival was Park Vista. And you know Trey Turner came out of Park Vista?
I think I heard that.
Yeah, so Park Vista routinely gets really good players.
They were a powerhouse back when
Dude, they're always a powerhouse. They're going to Fort Myers for the finals every year.
Yeah.
And they're ace at the time. So I'm a senior. This kid's a junior. His name's James Marinon. He got drafted in the 4th round by the Dodgers out of high school. And his senior year, he topped out at 98. He was throwing pretty...
That's gas.
Yeah, no, dude, like straight fuzz balls. And his junior year, he was still throwing hard. Like he was still probably like, upper 80s, low 90s. But the thing was, he had such good east and west command of the strike zone. And he had a very good curveball. So my first at bat against him, like it's a blur coming in, fastball low in on the black. I don't know what to do with it.
Sounds different too, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, like when you hear the hiss of the seams, you're like, bro, this kid's got something I don't.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like I can still visualize it to this day, this first at bat. And he threw me a curveball, bro. I thought it was going to hit me in the ear. Blowing away on the black. I'm going back to the dugout. My knees buckled. I'm almost on the floor from strike 3. Horrible feeling. I didn't feel as bad because I was hitting like 7th and everyone else was striking out. So I was like, all right, cool. Maybe no one will remember that. And then in the 5th inning, I want to say it was either like a 1-1 ball game. Yeah, I think it was 1-1. So it's 5th inning, 2 outs, runners on 2nd and 3rd. I get up into a 1-2 count. And I'm just like, great.
Yep.
And in my mind, I was thinking curveball because he got me on it the first time. So it's like, as a pitcher, do it till he proves he can't. And I saw it like release a little further than the last one. So I just said, fuck it and throw my hands. I'm running down to 3rd. And like I hit a grounder down the 3rd baseline. Wasn't solid, wasn't weak. You know what I mean? Somewhere in between where it's fairly routine speed, but I snuck it down the line. So the 3rd baseman dove and couldn't get to it.
Oh, nice.
And then like I run down the line and I'm like, well, I grounded out and he's over. And my first base coach starts shaking my shoulders. He's like, hey, look over in left field. Ball's in left field. 2-run score, 3-1 ball game. Everyone's running out of the dugout, losing their damn minds.
That's sick.
It was awesome. And what was cool about it for me, too, was my dad was at the game. And my first couple years in high school, he was commuting between Orlando, put food on the table after the Homeland collapse. So the only job he could find was in Orlando. And at this time, he just settled back home. So he got to see that moment. And that was one of the best things for me was my dad was at the game.
That's big.
My mom, too, obviously. But, like, it was just cool that my dad got to see that moment, too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's cool that your dad went to the games, too. Like, my mom was always there. She was a trooper, you know what I mean?
Dude, do you want a funny story? So
Sure.
This is my freshman year, and my brother was my JV coach. And my dad came down from Orlando to watch me play. And I remember that night, it was really cold. Like, my feet were, like, going a little numb. Got the hoodie on.
Oh, boy.
And
I know what that's like.
yeah, we're losing, and I'm like, I was pitching a lot at that time, so I thought I'd come into the game to pitch. My brother sat my ass the entire game when our dad came down from Orlando.
That sucks.
But, I get it. He had to do what he had to do.
Right.
No, he had to do what he had to do because, you don't want to show nepotism, and everyone thought I got plenty of it. And my freshman year, I probably played about a total of 7-8 innings. I might have played one ball game throughout the entire year.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No brotherly love there.
No way.
Thanks, Ryan.
So going back to like heat throwers.
Really quick, he's still one of the best coaches I ever had to this day. He taught me so much.
Your brother?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I always wish I had brothers. I got 2 younger sisters, but so I'm the oldest. I always wish I had a brother. I do kind of have a brother. My very best friend. But yeah. So yeah, going back to like flamethrowers. I have two quick stories about really hard pitchers that came out of Palm Beach Gardens. The first one was Chris Volstead. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, dude. No, he was for the Marlins, Cubs, White Sox. He was One of the
First
bigger
pick for
local
the
guys
Marlins.
down here. Yeah.
Yep. I remember being a freshman walking around that school. This is at the old Gardens now before they tore it down. So I was a freshman. He was a senior. And you could just, like, walking around the halls, you could see his head, like,
Oh, dude, he was
from
tall.
a mile
What was
away.
he, like 6'7"?
6'8", I think.
Yeah, really big dude.
6'8". I faced him my freshman year in inter squad. And
Oh, you played with him?
no, I didn't play. I wasn't on varsity. See, that's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Like,
No, okay. I got you.
our proof from my freshman year to, I guess it would have been my senior year there were some serious players. Like in my class, like I was supposed to graduate in 08.
Yeah. Was Brad Peacock there?
I
I remember he went somewhere in Palm Beach. He was another local guy.
I don't think he wasn't there at that time, but yeah, in my graduating class, or what should have been my graduating class, everybody got signed eventually to play minor league ball except for me and maybe I think that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, because like I said, screwed around in senior year and
Yeah.
kind of messed me up. But so I faced Chris Volstad once, and that was the fastest live pitching that I've ever seen in my life. Because my batting coach would hook up the machine and 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I was hitting that when I was like 13, 14. But out of a live arm, it's way different.
Yeah.
Way, way different. Second story I have, I struck out.
Fair.
3 straight fastballs, struck out.
And dude, like when it's 6'7", the guy's throwing like way up there.
He's
And
a lot closer.
He had a big curveball too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that extension to the
eventually.
plate.
Yeah, eventually he really, really worked on that. So second story I have is kind of funny. Me and my buddy Troy. Sorry, Troy. I'm gonna rat us out here to everybody.
Damn it, Troy.
So we
Done did it.
This was sophomore year. We decided, we're gonna skip school all day. Common theme here.
Yeah.
So we went to the baseball field, took batting practice all morning long in the
Oh,
cages. Like, oh yeah, we're being productive. Yeah, this is cool. Let's go back to school for lunch. We're hungry. Our mistake was we tried to get out of school again and go back.
Oh, yeah.
The varsity pitching coach is standing there at the gate waiting for us.
Oh, no.
He's just shaking his head.
Yeah.
Took us straight to in-school suspension.
Oh, boy.
We went to practice, and our punishment for skipping school was we had to hold a bat over our heads
Yeah.
and skip like 10 laps around the field. And all we did was plyos and stuff as punishment that day. The next day, I had to catch Zach Miner, who was he pitched in the 04 World Series for the Tigers. Really good pitcher. Now I caught guys that threw that hard, 94 or whatever. And catching people at that level, you don't even have to move your glove.
Yeah.
Fastball. The fastball control is unreal, but I'd never seen a splitter like that in my life.
Yeah, not even mine.
I couldn't even catch it. I literally couldn't catch it.
Yeah.
But that was my punishment, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, Chris, before we get wrapping up, do you have any departing wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, for all the young people, just go to class. And for really everybody, just always kind of remember that things always happen exactly the way they're supposed to.
Exactly. You're meant to be where you are.
Yeah.
That's true. And that helps you get over the grudge of your playing days.
We'll help you through anything in life. Go where your green lights take you.
Yeah. And one more fun question. One-handed finish or two-handed finish? Which is better?
2.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the podcast. This is Dugout Chatter. Chris, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Appreciate it.
Come back whenever. You're always welcome.
Anytime.
Man. And you can find Dugout Chatter wherever you get your podcast. And if you want to see the visual, you can find us on YouTube. And we'll have everything linked in the description. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. All of it's Dugout Chatter. And thank you again for coming on, Chris.